Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a champion guide for Sinesha, so let's get into it. Alrighty, so Sinesha is an epic in the Knight Revenant support category Force Affinity, so let's go ahead and pull her up here. And then for all of my champion guides, I make one of these infographics that I will have down in the video description, and it just shows the masteries that I currently use on my Sinesha, and then just some kind of general grades and information for the champion. For the grades, we'll see on the right side of the screen, campaign B+. I will actually show you here in a little bit me using Sinesha as an end game farmer, so you can kind of see what she's capable of in the end game. Being a campaign farmer, she can do it. She is Force Affinity, which means she's not ideal for being a campaign farmer, but she can get it done, so B+ there. Clan Boss, she doesn't bring very much, buff and debuff utility, but she does have a heal. She's mainly based around AoE, so that's also a bad thing for the Clan Boss. But because of her heal, I gave her a D and not an F, but you're probably not going to want to be using Sinesha in the Clan Boss. Arena is a B+. She can be really good in the arena, especially if you pair her with counterattack champions like Skull Crusher, Martyr, Valkyrie, because her A1, which is what procs off of counterattack, is an AoE that hits twice on enemies that are under half health. So a very good kind of synergistic ability there with counterattack in the arena. And then dungeons, she is very good against the spider, and then she's very good in a lot of other dungeons as well. So she gets an A in dungeons. A very solid champion in general. We can see the optimal sets. She's you can gear her probably as like a speed and damage dealer, because I prioritize her doing really well in the spider den, and that's why she is gonna probably want speed and offense sets in general. Alrighty, so there's that, and then let's just go over it here. Ideally, we want to take a look at the base stats and get a good understanding of what the character is when we take a look at a hero, and we can see that her attack is kind of low, but that can be misleading because we have to dive into what the multiplier is, and she does do decent damage if you get her offense gear and get her attack up, especially with her A1 in the spider den. Hitting those spiders twice, she can do good damage, even though her attack is a little bit low. She has really good defense, which is good, but her damage doesn't scale off of defense, so I wouldn't recommend putting defense sets on her. And then her speed is amazing. Anytime a champion has a base speed of over 100, their speed is really good. So I love the fact that her base speed is over 100. And yeah, then for abilities, we've got an A1 here that's AoE, places an extra hit on enemies with less than 50% HP. So this is kind of a double positive. We got an AoE for an A1, and then we've also got a really special ability, places an extra hit on enemies with less than half health. So this is an incredible A1. I love that. A2 is attack one enemy, put that target's skills on cooldown, which is good for the arena, and heal the ally with the lowest HP by 25%. That's good for like dungeons and stuff. So very solid ability there. And then our A3 is equalize the HP of all allies. The HP levels of all allies will be brought up to the level of the ally with the highest HP, then heals the target ally by 10% of their max HP. So just kind of a general sustain utility heal that is pretty handy in the arena and in dungeons to help your party kind of sustain longer. Alrighty, and also worth noting before I move on, I think Sinesha has one of the coolest pairings in the game. You know how there's some champions that are meant to work in tandem with each other, and they have special ally effects, like Juliana and Romero are meant to kind of play together. They've got effects that are only available when they're on the same team. Well, Sinesha has one of those with Skull Crown. We can see here, Skull Crown is this void attack character in the Knight Revenant, and Sinesha and Skull Crown have one of the coolest designed pairings in the game. Remember with Sinesha, her A1 attacks all enemies and hits an extra hit with enemies that are under 50% HP. Well, Skull Crown has an A1 that attacks all enemies, places an extra hit at the target, has more than 50% HP. So we're getting an extra hit on targets higher than 50%, and we're getting an extra hit on targets with lower than 50%. That is a home run in game design. I love how Skull Crown and Sinesha synergize with each other, and then Skull Crown gets the added effect here, revive the champion with 30% HP. if Sinesha is on her team. So if you can get Skullcrown and Sinesha, that is an incredible pairing that can do really well in dungeons and especially in the Spider Den, and could even be cool in the arena in certain designs. So yeah, I wanted to point that out quickly, and I will actually pull up my Sinesha here. No, not index. Come on now. Champions. There we go. Alrighty, so here is my Sinesha. I've got her. Normally, I like to get champions above 175 speed. I like to have my champions over 200 speed once their speed is buffed by somebody like an Apothecary or a High Katoon. So I like to get them about 175 to 200 speed, usually, even for like my damage dealers. So excuse me, that's why I put the 2 pieces of speed, and then I wanted to get her as much damage as possible so that she can do well in the arena, or sorry, not the arena, in the Spider Den. So that's why we went with crit chance on the gloves, because I want to get her to 100% crit, and then we're gonna go attack percent on the chest, and then if you can get speed, crit damage, attack percent, all that type of stuff on the substats, that's great. Boots are probably going to be speed in most cases. It's just too hard to pass up that huge speed roll. So, and then we're looking for crit chance, crit damage, attack percentage, stuff like that. So yeah, pretty straightforward in terms of gearing your Sinesha. And then if we pull up Sinesha's masteries, you know, it's actually interesting because on the bottom tier of the support, all of these are worthless. She doesn't do buffs, and she doesn't place debuffs, so we don't need Hexer or lasting gifts. I guess if you want to really minnow grind her to the max, you could go for increased speed by 8 for each dead ally. Then if you're using her as a campaign farmer or something, that might be the route to go, but I didn't see it worth to grind out those 200 divines when I'm not really getting anything out of this bottom tier. But we do want to go with the offense and support trees, because obviously we want her to do well in the Spider Den, which means we're going to want the offense tree, and this is kind of the route we went. Now, it would be nice to get the crit damage mastery, but I didn't want to sacrifice either one of these two. Methodical is amazing for Sinesha because she actually uses her default skill as her main damage dealer, so we really want Methodical, and then we really want Kill Streak just to help out our speed in those dungeons, and especially the Spider. She's gonna get this stacked up all the way up to 12%, so or it's damage, not speed, but yeah, so getting that 12% damage is just more reliable in general than the crit damage 20%, so I couldn't really and we're not going to use her in the clan boss, so we don't really need to go for War Master, so we went with Helm Smasher. It's just going to help her do a little bit more damage on that A1. But yeah, that's kind of the mastery tree that I went with for Sinesha. And now I will show her as kind of an end game campaign farmer and let you take a look at what you can expect her to do in terms of, you know, brutal campaign farming. So this is brutal, and 12-3 is kind of the meta. With her being force, there can be a case to be made to farm stage 6 instead. But I know people love to farm 12-3 because it's a little bit higher silver. So I'll show her in 12-3, even though it's probably more optimal for her to farm 12-6. But we'll see what she can do in 12-3, just kind of soloing it in brutal. I expect her to be a little bit slower, like maybe 30 seconds or so, but she should be able to do it. I don't use her as my campaign farmer, that's why I don't know for sure. But I think I did a test run when I was kind of writing my script and planning out the video, and I believe she was about 30-35 seconds or so. So yeah, look at that. That is not bad, especially for being a weak affinity, and I didn't even really design her to be a campaign farmer. She cranked out 12-3 in 25 seconds, so she is an option for your end game campaign farmer, and you know, that's always worth considering when you're looking at champions that are worth 6-starring. But now let's get into where Sinesha really shines, and that is in the Spider. So, not Minotaur. I'm so bad at clicking when I'm live. Alright, so the Spider Den. Sinesha was really good for me because to get past this stage 15, being force affinity, it's usually very tough for people to get past like stage 7, stage 11, and stage 15 and 19, because usually you know, most players are weakest against force affinity. So it was really nice to get Sinesha and slot her in to this run here of Force Affinity Spider, and I'll kind of show you a run here, and then I'll be able to kind of dive into the numbers and how much damage she does compared to, you know, heroes like Bellower and Coldheart, so that you can really see how well she does in the Spider compared to other good AoE / attack champions. And I actually just got that Alcazar last night on stream, so it's kind of nice to slot him in here, but I was able to clear the stage 15 with Sinesha before I had that Alcazar, so she is definitely capable of really helping you progress into the end game of dungeons, and especially the Spider Den. There can be a decent amount of RNG in the Spider, you know, so sometimes the run will take 3.5 minutes, sometimes it'll take 5.5. It just kind of depends how it goes here. But my team here is usually pretty solid for farming stage 15 pretty consistently. But I expect it to take probably like 4 minutes. Alrighty, so I wanted to skip ahead just a little bit, so that, you know, you don't have to sit here and watch the Spider for, you know, too long, but we're coming up on the 4-minute mark, so my team should be able to finish off the Spider somewhat soon here, and then we'll be able to kind of, you know, glance at the overall numbers and how Sinesha compares to some of these other AoE champions in terms of farming the Spider. There we see Coldheart chunking down about half the HP the Spider had left. Coldheart is another champion that's very good in dungeons because she has an ability that's based off of enemy max HP in her Heartseeker, and it also reduces the turn meter, so it's very good. Alrighty. Come on, you can do it. Oh, it barely lived. The DOTs didn't quite kill it. And there it is. Alrighty, so as it comes up here, first we always gotta check our item, right? Decent, but it's a banner. Usually want accuracy. But okay, so as we look at this, we can see Sinesha was, you know, darn near the MVP, or she was the MVP. She did 3.35 million, and she just barely edged out Bellower. And, you know, Coldheart, we bring her for the single target utility. So she outdamaged everybody here in stage 15 of the Spider. So she's a good campaign farmer. She's amazing in the Spider. She's good in most dungeons. She's pretty good in the arena as well if you build the right team around her. So Sinesha, one of the, you know, more well-rounded champions in the game, and definitely worth investing in and worth 6-starring if you acquire her, in my opinion. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. But if you have any questions, drop it down in the comments. I'll do my best to help you out. And remember, there is also that champion guide image down in the video description if you want to pull her up. So yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.